Hi, welcome to the 2020 Victoria Bach Festival. I'm Executive Director Nina DeLeo, and on tonight's program, we have some input from artists on what it's like to be making music at a distance. For performing artists, being in the room, that energy and that connection and just the acoustics of playing music together is so important. And as we're navigating this new landscape of being at a distance, we have some performers here in Texas who are doing really innovative and interesting and creative work to create new outlets and platforms for people from around the country to make music together. And so tonight we're talking with two of those groups of artists who are navigating this time with some really interesting projects. Line Percussion is a percussion ensemble out of Austin. They started a series of commissions for percussion pieces performed at a distance. Their mission statement is that they exist to share the world's most inventive music with intrepid listeners. And I know we've got some of those out there tonight. They were formed in 2009, and the Austin American Statesman has called them a riveting, always surprising, and delightful trio. And I have to agree. Our second performer on tonight's set is BettySoo. BettySoo is a singer-songwriter also out of Austin who has been hosting virtual salons and getting her friends and musicians together online and songwriters to come and talk about making music during this time. Acoustic Guitar said that BettySoo may well have the most gorgeous voice in Texas, if not in all contemporary folk. Its purity and strength can be downright devastating. So we'll hear a set from BettySoo and her band later this evening. These are really inventive, creative artists with great projects, and they're here to share insights with us tonight about how they're continuing to create work and to make connections in this time of distance. And we're very proud to have them here with the Victoria Bach Festival. We want to thank our sponsor for tonight's program, the Texas Commission on the Arts, and our season sponsors, the O'Connor and Hewitt Foundation, the Texas Commission on the Arts, and the City of Victoria. And with that, I'd like to welcome Line Percussion.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Welcome. We want to do a quick round and introduce yourselves. Maybe we can start with Adam.
Sure, I'm Adam Bedell.
I'm Colin Falk.
And I'm Matthew Teodori.
And you guys have been together since 2009, is that right?
Yes, yep. This is our 10th season, wrapping up.
And how did you first come together?
Yeah, we met at UT in the percussion studio there, and the most fun we were having was playing percussion chamber music together, and I think we wanted to find a way to keep doing that, and started the group while we were all still students, and kept it up, just the three of us, all original members since then.
It's fantastic. You guys have really taken off. I mean, you're performing all over the country now and doing some really innovative things in different areas. Can you tell us a little bit, before all this hit, what were some of the places that you performed at most recently?
Yeah, we were in Europe at the end of October and early November. We were in England and France and Germany for 2 weeks. That was enjoyable. And we were scheduled to be in California back in April and some other things around Texas. But those were the trips for this season.
And so now you found a way to bring these people from all over the city and the country and the world to you online with these projects. Tell us a little bit about these. What's the name of it? I actually forgot what your distance project name is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the official title. I mean, on the website, it's called Quartets for the End of Time.
But yeah, I actually never called it that online, like on social media.
Yeah, I don't think we have an official. I think, what were you calling them? Quarantine project?
It was a couple of different things, I think. I forgot.
We didn't talk about it really. But the concept was that we wanted to do something with composers because we're in this situation where no one can really be with each other. And typically working with composers in the same room is something that takes a lot of scheduling and time and resources that aren't as much of a sticking point these days. So why not try to make some quartets where the composers join us to make some pieces that aren't really possible in real life. And that a lot of composers took that had a different approach to that. But I think tonight there's a pretty good spectrum of sort of how some of the composers went about making their work with that in mind.
So is that kind of the prompt, like make something that we couldn't actually play in the room together?
Yes. Yes.
That's cool. Okay, I like that. So are we going to start out with our first one here? What are we going to hear?
So yeah, the first piece is by our friend Ted Moore. And we met Ted a couple of years ago. He was one of the first composer fellows at our Winter Composer Festival in January. And so we have like between 6 and 8 composers all write us a brand new piece, and then they come to Austin for a week and we workshop the piece and then record it and then premiere it on a concert. So Ted was part of that first batch of composers, and he wrote us what is perhaps the most assaulting piece that we've ever performed, like light and sound going the whole time. And video. And anyway, it's very exciting. So we approached him about a piece. And one of the interesting things about these pieces is we have some instruments at home. I think all 3 of us have a drum set at home. But a lot of our instruments are at our rehearsal studio. And so we're hoping to kind of like, for some of these projects, only be able to play with the things that we have at home without going out of the house. So Ted's was one of the really simple ones. We had a huge range of pieces, I think, from like really complex scores to like a couple of sentences in an email to tell us what to do. And Ted's was particularly simple. He just wanted us to find instruments and sounds from around the house and record them with some decent quality audio and video. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but I think he built some sort of software that plugs in the videos in rhythm for him, so he could preset the entire piece and then just get the videos from us and cut them up. So that's this is the result of that.
Awesome. And what's the name?
So Ted Moore is based normally out of Chicago. That's where he lives. He's one of the doctoral fellows at the University of Chicago, and he works and teaches there. And he is currently on kind of a break and composing from Colorado in the mountains. So this is Ted.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Ted. So Ted, you gotta, Adam said a few words about your piece, but I think the most interesting thing, at least for me, would just be to like hear whatever you want to say about building the software.
Sure.
Or, I mean, you could start even further back than that, but.
So when these guys asked me to do this project, I thought for a couple days about what to make with them. And you know, it's designed to be made over the internet and designed to be sort of viewed on the internet. And it's a rather short thing. So I had this image of just this like fun short video that would make some smiles happen in the world, hopefully. So in order to like, I had this idea of this like rhythm, this beat that they would make with these videos. So the first thing I had to do is figure out how I would make that work. So I wrote some software using a framework called Open Frameworks, which is very common for creative projects, and recorded some videos of myself like hitting stuff at my desk, and then made a little mock-up to see that I could sort of make this type of video sequencing thing happen. And then I asked these guys to just record themselves hitting some stuff, probably some percussion instruments, anything else that they thought would be fun, or sounds they like, or things that they, you know, could, anything that they wanted to include. And then the task was taking all those sounds and videos that they made and composing the piece, and, you know, figuring out what sort of themes I wanted to use, and what was sort of the form would be, how things might develop, what videos and sounds might work well together, and that was probably the most fun part, and also probably the fastest part, because it was really fun, and it was just like composing a drum beat, but with all these videos. So once that rolled around, the process went pretty quickly.
Awesome. Like, do you feel, yeah, I don't know, how long would you say that you felt like the project took, like from when we approached you? I forget, but how, like from when we approached you to when
it was overall, it was probably a solid month.
Yeah,
that would be my guess. It was a little bit of thinking time, and actually the thing that was the most time consuming was writing the software, figuring out how that would work, and making sure that it could be sort of rhythmically structured, so that it could, you know, we could have musical time and musical meter be expressed. That took a lot of doing, so that was a couple weeks actually of playing. But then once those details were ironed out, it was just kind of getting the videos, getting them recorded. The rest of it was really smooth and really enjoyable.
Do you think you will use the software again?
I think I will, yeah. I mean, it can be, you know, I can drop in any videos and sequence them pretty easily, pretty fluidly, just sort of change a couple lines of code here and there and have these sort of patterns unfold. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely planning to use the software again. I'm keeping my eyes peeled for when that like opportunity will present itself, and then I'll definitely, it will definitely occur in another composition of mine at some point.
Cool. I'm glad we, you know, maybe did something somewhat useful for you.
Yeah. Cool,
man. Well, thanks so much for joining. I know we were gonna all be back later for a Q&A, but
yep.
Thanks for chatting. And
yeah.
I think it is me now introing Michelle's piece. So Michelle Liu is actually the composer of these three that we've seen in real life most recently. We just premiered a piece of hers in Austin at the beginning of December, and we've been fans of Michelle's work for at least 8 years, like almost since the group started. And she was one of the very first people that we wanted something from, and Line Upon Line just takes forever to get pieces. So we were like maybe 7 or 8 years on, finally premiering this piece at the beginning of December. But Michelle, for this project, had a really interesting approach of basically asking each of us to just make a video, anything, and send it on to the next person in the line, and that they make a response to it. So in this case, I started and Adam made a response, and then Adam sent his response to Colin, and Colin never saw mine. And then Michelle was sort of the final person in the line, and a game of telephone, if you will. And then Michelle sort of saw what like all of end products and sort of decided what to make out of this thing. So this piece is called No Face. Okay, so Michelle's joining us from San Diego, and that's her hometown, but she currently teaches up at UC Santa Cruz. But given all the goings on, is back for some sheltering in place in San Diego. So welcome, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. And we just love to hear, we just love to hear anything. I've sort of talked about the game of telephone a little bit, but anything that you want to say about what occurred to you in the process.
Yeah, I mean, when you called me and proposed this idea, I guess in the moment I decided, let's try to do this kind of like Exquisite Corpse thing. And then within a day or two, I got your videos. And so then I guess, well, this stuff kind of works better as kind of a collage. So I made a simple Max MSP jitter patch to juxtapose all three videos. And then I thought I would sneak in with mine sort of towards the end. But, you know, it was just a really kind of quick little fun project that I didn't put that much thought into either. But I really appreciate it because, you know, I had been kind of just stuck, you know, not really doing anything. And it was nice to just get my hands on a project for a day.
Also, I'm curious, like, it seems intimidating, I guess, is maybe a word that comes to mind, to just ask for three like whatevers and just sort of feel confident or feel like you can generate something that interests you at the end of that. I mean, did that thought even occur to you at the beginning, or was it just sort of like?
Well, I saw it as sort of a fun way to maybe try to like learn a new skill, because I'd not really manipulated video on jitter before. And it felt like it was pretty low stakes, but then I've been seeing all the other submissions and been feeling pretty bad about the level of work or, you know, forethought that I put into it, because the other videos have been really fun and amazing. And obviously they put in a lot more work.
I mean, I think, Michelle, what was fun for me is that I didn't know how Adam responded to my video or how Colin responded to Adam's video until I saw the final video. So I think as a performer, if you will, in the piece, like we're always so used to what the end product will sound like throughout the rehearsal period. Like we're already we're understanding what it will be when we get good enough to do it. It was really cool to just kind of like hand something off and then at the end be like, oh wow, that's what she made, and also really enjoy what you made as well. So
yeah, I mean, I guess I had no idea what you guys were going to do, but I kind of, you know, made the assumption that it would be sort of percussion-y and it didn't, you know, it wasn't. It was more sort of like static sounds or very sort of small amount of sound. And so that's why it sort of became what it was. I thought that I would chop it up and do more things with it, but there just wasn't enough kind of sort of like sounds I could isolate. But that's, yeah, it's fine.
Well, we love it. And thank you so much for coming on and chatting about it. I think at the end, we're going to all be back together for a Q&A, so we'll see you again. But thanks a bunch, Michelle.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right, I guess it's my turn. This next composer is also named Colin. And he's another guy we met through our first composer festival a couple years ago. And he's now already written, this is his third project to write for us. They're all kind of insane. We're always excited to see what he does. And this piece, entitled Re-Rendered Flipbook, he basically just described it as being like a flipbook that has gone haywire, like out of control. And I guess we'll watch that now. All right, and Colin Murphy, I think, is joining us from Chicago. Is that right?
In Champaign.
In Champaign right now. He actually is based in Pittsburgh, but of course, with recent things, he's relocated for a bit. And he's going to talk a little bit about his piece, but first, the important question: what's it like having the best name?
Wonderful. And the superior vowel, I'd like to add.
I mean, mine's first in the alphabet, I think. So
first the worst, I believe, adage. But,
this isn't even a vowel.
Sometimes. But yeah, this piece, I'm super excited about this kind of project, just because I feel like Line Upon Line is really good on just like fully taking advantage of what I'm asking from them, and that they kind of get what I'm looking for in kind of the dramatic sort of aspect of it. And I was thinking a lot about like when everything started with everyone having to stay home, just I'm always so curious about people's routines and what people kind of rely on or what they gravitate towards. So by kind of enacting these prompts of, hey, go around your space and find these things that are not percussion things. What are the things that you're going to gravitate towards? What are the more metally things that are nearby? It's kind of like a way of looking into everyone's space, and then thinking about just like the stories that objects tell us, like thinking about the chair as a story, or thinking about the first instrument everyone picked as like the story, as the thing that enacts the next part of the piece, or whatever's happening. Yeah, I'm always really curious about that, and I'm really grateful for all the variety of things everyone picked, and so grateful for all the at-home partners from everyone to join in for the sneak surprise at the end. But yeah, that's what I was thinking about a lot during this piece.
Colin, I have a question. I'm just like, it feels like you almost had to go backwards to tell us what to do. Like you almost, I don't know if you had the end in sight, but for some reason, like reading and like the instructions that we got to do what we were supposed to do, like the entire time I was recording it, I was like, how does he know what he's supposed to do with this? Like, this is just like 100 random things in my head. And it must have been like sort of an end product that you then went back to tell us what to do. And is that, it feels, in my head at least, that's different from maybe how normal composing would go. I don't know if you could speak to just that process.
I talk about this a lot, and I don't quite understand how to like fully explain the sensation, but like if composers use the analogy of like getting a piece of marble, and then their composition process is like breaking away until they get their statue of the person, and like that's the piece. More frequently what happens for me is I get the nose of the human statue at the end, and I'm like, why do I have this nose? What's the point of this nose? I guess I have to find an ear, I think. And it does feel a little backwards in that way, where I have like, for example, actually the first image I had of the piece, there were two. One, I pictured Cullen doing the on the floor with the chair hovering over him and slapping. And I pictured the switch that happened. And I was like, well, what's the point of the switch? Like, why is there a switch happening in this like magical room with magical items and things like that? That's why there's a switch happening. Okay, well, what does that mean? And it's very investigative in terms of letting myself having just like moments of maybe strange thoughts or just like imagery, and then kind of investigating like, well, why is that? Rather than going like, okay, that's the building block that I have to build off of. It's kind of figuring out what brought me to that thought, and then exploring from that angle a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, man. I think, yeah, there's Nina.
I'm jumping right back in here. I love this program so much, and I'm so amazed at how composer-centric you guys are. It's so important right now just to give people a voice, and to do it in this fashion too, when we're all kind of struggling to figure out what to do at a distance. This has been really amazing work, so thank you for sharing it with us. I want to say too that I am on the Line Upon Line Percussion email list, and everyone else should be too, so they can find out about great stuff like this. But there was an email that went out yesterday that really moved me, and I wonder if you might just have a minute and talk about how you came to write that.
Yeah, sure. I think we have been just feeling like all the recent events have, they've been heavy, you know, really, really heavy events in the last couple of weeks. And I think we've been sort of taking an introspective look at how our organization has maybe been not doing anywhere close to what we could be doing in an effort to have a bit more diversity in the programming that we do. And I think we wanted to sort of internalize it in a way that there could be some change that would come out of a deep-seated feeling that needed to happen, rather than just let's put out some sort of program that will maybe do a little bit early, but then not have the roots that it needs to be sort of a long-term change in the program and the programming that Line Upon Line does. And Yeah, I think we've been sort of internalizing and seeing what steps we can take to have a long-term, like as long as line upon line is a thing, type of long-term reaction and product and education and everything, every aspect of our organization. So yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to that project. So it sounds like there'll be maybe some more Black composers coming in the next few months, and whatever you come up with. But this project has been amazing. Your reaction to all of this at a distance, and we're really sorry that you couldn't be with us here in Victoria this year. We were talking about the last time I think you guys performed for the festival was 2013. I remember the Xenakis on that program. That was awesome. And then this year we were supposed to do that beautiful Crumb, the kind of off-kilter spirituals. I forget the name of that piece. Anyway.
Is it American Songbook?
Yes, from the American Songbook. Thank you. Yeah, the River of Life. Yeah. So hopefully next year, because we need you guys back in Victoria. And all our composers keep making great work. This has been really fun, and thank you for sharing. So thank you all for being here. And we're going to turn now, and you have one more on the program, is that right? One more piece to share.
Yes. We wanted to close with sort of a peppy, upbeat jam that came out of this time. This is from a composer friend of ours named Matthew Schlomowitz, who lives in London. And it's a little bit of the middle of the night there, so we didn't want to ask him to join us, but we said, hey, could we share the piece that you wrote? And he said, absolutely. And one of the cool things that Matthew's been doing during this time is writing pieces for quarantined musicians. So anyone that you're in the house with, he wants to write a group for you, no matter your skill level. So when we said we'd like something, he said, how would you like to play with I think she's 9, my 9-year-old daughter, who's a saxophone player. And so we said, sure. So this is actually a quintet where Matthew joins and his 9-year-old daughter, and we thought it'd be a fun way to have an outro.
I love it. It looks like we do have a little question right here. We have a question that says, after 10 years of pushing the envelope, how do you continue to create and generate new sounds? That's from Nick Staney. How do you push forward?
Yeah.
Hi, Nick.
I think we've learned a lot from composers. Like we spent a lot of time in school learning how to hit things and shake things and scrape things, but we've learned a ton from composers who perform themselves and improvise. And it seems like every time we go out of the country, we learn a handful new sounds from other percussionists, maybe abroad, and domestically too. But then the other big part is like working with composers that come in our studio and show us a new sound, something that we've never thought of, and that they found from another percussionist or something. So that's been really helpful in finding new sounds.
Fabulous. We had a question about how you guys met. I think we talked about but it was in studio at school, right?
Yeah. At the University of Texas about 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Awesome.
I'm from Michigan, Matt's from Virginia, and Colin is from Victoria, Texas.
Victoria, Texas. That's right.
So, but we all met at UT.
Awesome. And we do have a question here from Paula Cobbler, who asks, what do you think the role of arts organizations should be in today's climate? How are we all adapting to all of these things? I think some of this work is shown, it's just being creative and nimble, but what are your thoughts on that? The role
I'd actually like to open it up to one or all three of the composers, because I think we look to you guys and we want to, I'd love to hear what you would say.
Well, for me as a teacher, I think it's really important to try to, art is sort of a way that we sort of filter experience, and and we need to be aware that there are many experiences. There's just not one kind of truth. And so for me, I think arts organizations should support and amplify all voices, especially underrepresented voices. I mean, especially in contemporary music, it tends to, to not be very diverse.
Yeah, I want to definitely echo that sentiment and point out that I think a lot of times in contemporary music, we think about how can we get more people to us, and don't spend a lot of time thinking about what spaces already exist for music making for a lot of different kinds of people. And taking a look about if we're familiar with those other ways of music making, or are showing up to those other ways of music making, and that's an important aspect of that, and just engaging with those things those kinds of music making regularly, and learning more about it in that way, rather than always having to be about come to what I have, come to the thing that I have. Yeah, that's, I think, an important thing to continually address in your own engagements with music making.
I'll just add one thing, which is that I know I've been having a lot of conversations recently with colleagues and friends about the protests that have been taking place. And one thing that keeps coming up in my mind is that, we're all part of many communities, and some of those are more politically organized communities, or they're through school, or they're through music communities. And that really all of those communities should be places where we're having these types of conversations, and none of those communities should be exempt from thinking about and working on these issues. And so arts organizations are just another one of those communities where all of these conversations and plans and developments and evolutions should be taking place.
Thank you all for that. I think this has been a great conversation. We appreciate your time and your talents and all the music you shared with us. Matt, give us again the title of our last piece we're going to be going out on.
Oh,
Fanfare.
Fanfare. Thank you. And thank you so much, Nina, for having us and reimagining what our attendance at this festival and participation in this festival could be. It's been a pleasure.
We love you guys' work, and we're so glad that you brought your friends too. It's fabulous. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Fanfare.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is BettySoo, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Austin, Texas. My jazz trio and I were so looking forward to being in Victoria this June for the Bach Festival, but of course that didn't work out this year, and I'm glad that we all decided to exercise caution for the sake of public safety. That said, we were really looking forward to playing some classic tunes from the Great American Songbook for you. But since we moved to this online video format, Nina asked if I might instead get together my regular Austin band and play some of my original songs for you. So I called them up, and they all got out their video cameras and their recording equipment, and we put together these videos just for you, and we hope that you enjoy them. This first song is a song that I wrote called 100 Different Ways of Being Alone. And you might or you might not, or somebody you know might have suffered from major depression, like I have for many years. Or maybe you've just gone through some hard times and some lonely times in your life. And for me, this song was kind of an upbeat, up-tempo way to remind myself that even when I am feeling my most blue or my loneliest, that somebody else in the world knows just how that feels, and I'm not really that alone. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I was just talking to a friend the other day about how funny it is that in such a short amount of time, we're all kind of getting used to being at home. And before that, you know, most of us musicians would be on the road quite a bit, and I probably would spend a couple hundred nights in a year in hotels and motels, which is where this next song comes from. From learning to sleep to the noise of a too loud hotel or motel air conditioner, and getting a love-hate relationship with the blackout curtains.
1, 2, 3.
If any of you guys grew up on the Texas Gulf Coast, then probably a lot like me, you grew up fishing out there. And my dad definitely took us fishing all the time when we were kids. And a few years ago, my sisters and I thought, it's been too long since we've gone on a fishing trip with Dad. So we all got in the car and went down to Galveston together. And I think it was the first time in our family history that we came home without catching a single thing. But I remember on the way home, we saw this ditch full of all these toys. And one of my sisters said, gosh, I guess somebody probably was moving and lost a moving box. And I thought, oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense than the story that I immediately put together in my mind. And that story I ended up writing in a song called Henry and Me, and that is this.
One, two, three, four.
Thing together. Back in 98 we left for warmer weather. Just kids with fake ideas. Houston was big and we could disappear. Neighbors don't bug, don't even draw near. We can bust it out to Shreveport. Meet with Jimmy and see what he saw. And if they're playing in town, we'll see the little band go. Try and look at the slide, sleep all the way home. The station's just a 2-mile walk from our door. We never leave a car at the Greyhound lot. Henry says you might as well leave it unlocked. A new set of wheels. He loves to strike his own kind of deals. This one's hot out of Phoenix. Rolling slow, make a show. It's a 65 Ford Valley tag on the floor. We're gonna go downtown, cruise it around, drive it to the coast, leave it for the beach folks. Trade it for a wagon with a picnic in the back. See what kind of toys kids dig these days. Then we'll throw them out the window on the Gulf Coast highway. So much trash out there, no one can tell anyway. Sunday night, I always call home. It's always Mom who picks up the phone. Same thing I said for years. She'll try to muffle those snot-nosed tears. She knows I can't stand to hear. Well, Henry's never been much of a flirt, so I never worried about him chasing skirt. Him and me is all we need. Henry's new best friend is just a Nick sucker, looking for a fix for a holding brother. Me and Henry were just like Bonnie and Clyde. Mad the dead president's taking on the slide. The only things we ain't got things in our sights, just cars and fiends and hungry eyes. Just cars and fiends and hungry eyes. Yeah, Henry and me, we got a good just kids with fake IDs. Him and me, that's all we need. I never wanted to fall in love. I thought alone was the life for me. I never longed for another to fulfill my fantasy. I never thought I was lonely, but you appeared and changed that completely. So I gave my tender heart to you. You said you'd be forever true, but then you took my tiny heart and ran. And now I've got secrets you'd like to know, secrets you can't live without. Well, I know things you're dying to know, little secrets you know nothing about. Well, did that coffee taste a little strange the day you came over to arrange the division of our property? I might have been a bit surprised when you said you'd take the house and car, but surely even I wouldn't go that far. I've got secrets you'd like to know, little secrets you can't live without. Well, I know things you're dying to know, little tiny secrets you know nothing about. Secrets you'd be better off knowing, little secrets too many to count. But don't wait for me to tell you what they are until our cash is safely stored inside my private bank account. What a strange disaster. That's something a new car shouldn't do. I pace the floor just waiting to hear if you pull through. Oh, I've got secrets you'd be better off knowing, little secrets too many to count. Well, I know things you're dying to know, little secrets you know nothing about.
Don't worry, I will redeem it with true love coming up next.
You lifted my chin and brushed the hair from my face, and your hand felt warm when it slipped around my waist. I've never been good at learning my place, but all my thoughts escaped when you whispered my name. When you whisper my name, you breathe me in. you breathe me in, when you hold me close, all the trouble I've seen disappear into the night. And I know the tighter I hold on to you, the more everything will become right. When you whisper my name,
One of the things that I have enjoyed doing since we have been isolating at home is I have started making personalized live music videos, kind of like this, for a lot of fans and friends who really miss their coworkers, or their family members, or their friends while everybody's in isolation. And most people have a favorite song already, or they know the person that they want to send it to has a favorite song, and so they request that I record that song for them. But a lot of people have also requested this next song, which is one of mine, and it's called If Ever You Need, but it's really about somebody being out of sight but not out of mind.
brightest day fades to night, moon passes to evening light, rivers give their youth to the sea, winter sends birds in flight, their silhouettes filling up the sky, as far as naked eye can see. I might be beyond the frame, out of sight, but just call my name and I'll come running. I'll come running. Don't think 'cause you can't see me, I am ever beyond your
so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your virtual festival. Well, thanks again for listening. I've really enjoyed putting together these videos for you, and I'd like to thank my band for working so hard to get all of these recordings done in time for the live stream. And thanks to the Victoria Bach Festival for inviting us to play this year, even if it ended up being a little bit different than how we had planned. It was still such a joy to be able to perform for you. I'd also like to thank the Texas Commission on the Arts for funding so much great artistic endeavor around the state. And I hope to see you guys in person at some point. Again, my name is BettySoo, and I live in Austin, Texas. And I'm just going to send you out with one last song. And I just hope that you'll find each of my band members, Brian Mendez on the drums, John Sanchez on the guitar, Bonnie Whitmore on bass and background vocals, and myself, BettySoo, BettySoo. We're all online. We're all on all of the regular social media stuff, and we would just love for you to say hi and to reach out at some point. This is a song of mine called Never Knew No Love, and it's from a record I made with my friend Gerf Morlix called Heat, Sin, Water, Skin.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
When the sun is still beating down September, can't touch your toes to that pavement in the afternoon. Singing out front, wondering whether the sins of the summer gonna come catch up with you soon. You never knew no dirt didn't come off in the kitchen, never knew no stain like the one you're hiding now, never knew no man like the one you've been missing, never knew no love could break love's vow. I feel my face, but the moving just makes me hotter. Try to sit still as they creep down by the way. That dry bed ain't seen no fresh water. It's been the last 2 months drying out without the rain. I never knew no dirt didn't come off in the kitchen, never knew no stain like the one I'm hiding now, never knew no man like the one I've been missing, never knew no love could break love's vow. Well, I can't go back to the water's edge kitchen, baby. Never knew no stain. I never knew no man like the one I've been missing. Never knew no love. I never knew no dirt didn't come off in the kitchen, baby. I never knew no stain. I never knew no man like the one I've been missing. Never knew no love to break love's vow.
Thanks so much. I hope you've had a wonderful time, as wonderful as we've had. Everybody take care. Please stay home and stay safe and be very kind to each other. Thanks again.
That was so fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, BettySoo. That was really a wonderful set. I'm so glad that we get to have the originals this year, although I'm sad that we missed out on the American standards. But you really have a ton of different performance kind of streams and different bands that you play with. You've got that jazz trio and then this fabulous band, and you're working with another trio, right? That's really kind of taken off.
Oh, yeah, I've got a group with my friends Rebecca Loby and Grace Pettis called Nobody's Girl, and we're kind of a female harmony, pop country-ish kind of group, yeah.
Awesome. And there's something colorful behind you. Tell us a little bit about
that. Yeah.
It's
so
like
I've been doing these Tuesday night, we actually just finished right before this broadcast, but I've been doing these Tuesday evening shows called Nobody's Happy Hour. And I have a guest each week, and we spin this wheel, and it kind of tells us what to do. Like we'll do a guilty pleasure cover, or, just all kinds of fun stuff.
That's super fun. Wow. So are you writing at all now? I know artists are kind of reacting differently. Some people are really just not having the energy, and some are really finding they have more time. And how is that, affecting your songwriting?
Yeah, I've written a couple of songs since the lockdown, which it's unusual for me to not write much when I'm home for this extended period of time, because that's really the only place I write usually is at home. But I think I think all of the energy is so different right now, and not being able to be around other people at all, and just the hard stuff going on has made it a little bit harder to write, for me anyway. But I know some of my friends are, writing prolifically, so hopefully it'll come back. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, well, everybody's dealing with a lot, and it's all kind of day to day, I'm sure. But you managed to put together all these wonderful combinations of musicians to work with, including our own Faith DeBow. I was reading that you guys had a little moment together, which is wonderful. So that I'd love to hear that duo. That'd be fabulous. Let's bring in some of those fabulous band members that you've got. We've got Bonnie here. We've got John, if we can get him in. Because we have a shout out, actually. Somebody wants to know about who was playing the awesome guitar on Secrets. Oh, and he's upside down. That's the awesome guitar. No. Hi, Bonnie. Let's unmute.
Hello.
Hi. So how long have you and BettySoo been playing together?
When was that last record release?
2014.
For that long.
Yeah.
Awesome. And there's John. We had a shout out for that guitar solo. So tell me a little bit about how it was piecing together this recording. I know, sometimes people are used to laying together tracks in the studio or whatever, but this was pretty different in your living rooms and everything. And the recording just ended up so gorgeous. It's such a great sound. So tell us what it was like to have to do this at a distance.
Well, it was,
I guess I'll go first. For me, anyway, it was I was so pleased, by the way, to hear it, and thanks so much to Thomas Vanderbroek for working really hard on putting all that video footage together. And I was compiling some of the audio, but each of us recording on our own. Yeah, I mean, I love working in the studio, but one, you're not usually worried about what you look like or what faces you're making because nobody's videotaping you when you're singing in the studio. And two, you usually have, an engineer and other folks who are making sure all the stuff is going right. And when you're your own engineer and trying to track these things together, it was definitely more of a challenge. But I just feel so lucky that the people I play with are super capable and that they were able to contribute such great tracks and great videos too.
This was my first time actually doing one of these things. So I think when Betty asked me, I was like, yeah, great. Yeah, I got this. And then I was, trying to learn GarageBand recording, which I decided is a terrible idea. I'm gonna look into something else. But it was a really great experience. It was like you kind of needed it. Like all of this experience has been kind of like you need to figure it out the first time and then hopefully the next one. But I'm really excited about how this came together. We definitely were kind of joking about our facial expressions. John, I think, is the superstar of the group. That's all.
Is what?
Yeah. I know. I was really tempted in the YouTube chat to just type like, everybody just watch John. Don't look at don't look at my face. It's like, oh gosh, is that what I look like all the time when I sing? It's kind of a terrible thing. Don't have to watch yourself.
We're all doing a lot more of that. Yeah. Well, it was a really fabulous set, and we hope to have you in Victoria live sometime soon, and get more of these sounds coming, and just wish you the best in this time and making music together. So thank you so much for joining us for the 2020 Victoria Bach Festival. It was a great set, and we know where to find you on BettySoo, and BettySoo, is it BettySoo.com?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fabulous. And thank you so much for joining us tonight, and keep the great projects going.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
It was so fun. Thanks. Good night.
Good night.